Welcome to Mystic Realms Recap. Links are in the description below. Please show some love of the author and me. On to the show.
What are you? If you say cancel it, cancel it? Mo Chang said angrily. Lu Cheng frowned and felt very unhappy. He is the chief engineer of the 6th generation machine, and now Yi Bai directly said that his project can be cancelled. Does that mean that he has been working for nothing for so many years? The 6th generation machine is a national engineering project, and it wasn't cancelled just by researcher Yi. If researcher Yi has any good ideas, we are willing to listen to them, but if they're just messing around here, then we won't let them go. Lu Cheng's face was full of displeasure, but his words were restrained. Xiao Yi, I saw you brought researcher Yi here yesterday, and you're here again today. Is it just to make trouble? Yi Rower quickly shook her head. No. Chief Engineer Lu misunderstood. Researcher Yi really has. Lu Cheng waved his hand. Inspiration and ideas are meaningless. They need to be implemented. Then implement it. Yi Bai said with a relaxed face, you can lend me a fighter jet, a workshop and tools, and I will give you an aircraft that surpasses your current project within 2 months. Yi Bai's words almost made everyone around laugh out loud. 2 months? Mo Chang laughed. This Yi Bai is really ignorant to the point of horror. I thought he really had something, but now I don't worry at all. It's ridiculous to build an aircraft that surpasses the 6th generation aircraft in 2 months. It's all bullshit, and it's just hilarious. Do you think this is a model? We have been researching the 6th generation machine for 6 years, and you want to surpass it in 2 months. I really can't help it. Even if I'm a first-level researcher of the Dragon Academy of Sciences, what's the matter? I really think of building fighter jets as a joke. That is, an engine is already the pinnacle of the country's industry, as well as fire control, avionics, calculation of wind resistance, lift and wind test shape, etc. Let's go back. We're wasting time here. If we didn't see researcher E looking anxious, we wouldn't have come out. Said that, everyone went to the laboratory. Yi Rower looked at Yi Bai worriedly. She believed Yi Bai because Wu Mingyu told her that the electromagnetic rifle and the smart rifle were developed by Yi Bai after watching the video. So yesterday she took Yi Bai to watch the fighter jets. Maybe there will be a breakthrough. After reading it, Yi Bai really said that he had an idea, so Yi Rower hurriedly brought him to meet the R&D personnel of the 6th generation machine. But Yi Bai now says that the 6th generation machine is not good, and it will take 2 months to build a stronger one, which makes her a little unbelievable. Lu Cheng clenched his fists, but didn't go back. Okay, I'll give you a plane. You can use the plane on the tarmac outside us. Veron 20 is also fine. Mo Chang was surprised when he heard the words. Chief Engineer, do you really believe him? Lu Cheng shook his head. I don't believe it. It's because I don't believe it that I asked for proof. Mo Chang's face was gloomy, and after a while he said, okay, it's only been 2 months. If you make it, I'll just quit Beiyang military industry and go to the factory to screw screws. A first-level researcher. It's really here. Suddenly a voice interrupted everyone. Wu Mingyu came from a distance. Behind him are Lu Shogua, Zhou Ping, and Chen Wei. Director Wu, Chief Lu, Academician Zhou, Academician Chen. Lu Cheng stepped forward and greeted them one by one. Lu Shogua seemed to be in a very good mood. Haha, Mr. Lu, how is the development of the 6th generation aircraft recently? Lu Cheng smiled and said, it's going well, but we encountered a bottleneck for the time being. It happened that researcher Yu came to guide us. He was still very upset when he told Yi Bai that the 6th generation machine was not good, and that the 6th generation machine was his child. My own child is definitely not happy when he is told he can't do it. Lu Shogua looked at Yi Bai quite unexpectedly. Xiaoye also has research on fighter jets? That's great. Everyone was surprised when they heard Lu Shogua called Yi Bai Xiaoye. This title is very kind, and it is usually called by the elders to the younger generation. Lu Shogua is the real commander of the military region. He is a real general. Yi Bai replied, slightly understand slightly. At this time, Mo Chang said in a strange way, I'm afraid I don't understand it. Just now, researcher, you said that it will take 2 months to build a fighter that is stronger than the 6th-generation fighter we are researching. Real? Lu Shogwa looked at Yi Bai in surprise. Yi Bai nodded. He was going to build an anti-gravity fighter, which is definitely more powerful than the 6th-generation fighter. Seeing this, Lu Shogwa frowned. Fighter planes are not comparable to guns, but Yi Bai's 2 guns are extremely high-tech, even epic-making. But fighter jets are too complicated and every part is exquisite. So even if he was very optimistic about Yi Bai, he hesitated at this time. Zhou Ping had already noticed something was wrong after seeing the appearance of the crowd, and snorted coldly, "Xiaoya, follow me to the Dragon Science Academy. Our Dragon Science Academy fully supports you, and we believe in you." Hearing this, Lu Cheng felt very uncomfortable, which also means that his 6th-generation machine is not good, and it can surpass it casually. Wu Mingyu hurriedly said, "Old Zhou, you are wrong. Yi Bai has only been here for 1 day. No matter whether this fighter is successful or not, you have to stay with me for a few more days, at least guide the firearms design department." Qinwei said leisurely, "The honorary academicians of our Academy of Dragon Sciences seem to be unwelcome among you, so why stay here?" Honorary fellow. Lu Cheng, Mo Chang, and others looked at Yi Bai in disbelief upon hearing the words. How is it possible for such a young academician? Academician is the highest title in the field of science and technology, but Yi Bai looks like he is only 23 or 24 years old. What the hell did he invent to become an honorary academician? Mo Chang's eyes were full of jealousy. He was also in his 20s, but he was only a second-level researcher. Lu Shogwa tactfully made a haha and changed the topic. "Oh, why did we forget the business? We are here to award Xiaoya." Zhou Ping snorted coldly and said nothing. Awarding the honor, Mo Chang and the others were dumbfounded again. At this time, Lu Shogwa took an exquisite box from the guard behind him. After opening it, there is a golden first-class medal inside. Mo Chang and the others stared at the first-class merit medal with wide eyes. This honor is something that many people will never be able to obtain in their lifetime. Or it took a lifetime to fight. It is said that there are very few first-class merits in life, and almost all of them are obtained by sacrificing their lives. This shows how precious and rare the first-class medal of meritorious service is. Lu Shogwa waved to Yi Bai kindly. "Come here, Xiaoya, I'll put it on for you." Yi Bai walked over and stood straight. He also knew that this was a supreme honor. It is the glory of Guangzhou. Lu Shogwa put the first-class merit medal on Yi Bai's left chest clothes, carefully adjusted the position, and then said earnestly, "Since Xiaoya said to build a fighter that is stronger than the 6th-generation fighter in 2 months, then build it." Well, for 2 months, our military region can afford it, and so can the Yanwang Kingdom. If it is really made, I'm afraid there will be another first-class merit here. Our Beiyang Military Trade Union fully cooperates with researcher Yi and will provide whatever is needed. This matter, Mr. Lu will implement it. Seeing that Lu Shogwa had spoken, Wu Mingyu explained to Lu Cheng. Although the military region directly under the Beiyang military industry is the Beiyang military region, but Lu Shogwa is also the commander of the military region, and his meaning is very clear. In fact, he is also skeptical about building an advanced fighter jet in 2 months, but it only takes 2 months to consume some materials. If it can be done. If it was someone else, he might not force himself to stay in Beiyang military industry. But the other party is Yi Bai, the person who researched and built the electromagnetic rifle based on the video introduction of electromagnetic weapons. He thought it was worth the gamble. Lu Cheng nodded solemnly and said, "Don't worry, our fighter R&D department will fully cooperate." Lu Shogwa handed the brocade box to Yi Bai. "Do well, the country will not treat you badly. Because of your outstanding performance, there will be a 1 million bonus, which will be sent to your card." Yi Bai happily took over the brocade box. 1 million only a few 100,000 after 5 years of live streaming. Zhou Ping also walked up to Yi Bai. the title of honorary academician is already being selected, and Academician Wei is going to do this. It was originally a biennial selection, but this year is a special case for you. We jointly recommend it. You must no problem. His words made Mo Chang and others even more confused. They didn't know what great contribution Yi Bai had made, but the selection of academicians was made 1 year earlier. Yi Bai nodded vigorously. Thank you, academicians. He got a lot out of it this time. Money, positions, and honors are all there. It's a double gain of fame and fortune. By the way, there is still a plaque for the first-class meritorious family to be delivered to your home. Is it your address in the village below Zijin City? Lu Shouguo remembered that there was another plaque. Yi Bai shook his head. Send it to my parents. I'm here to work in Zijin City, and my parents live in Zuowang City. He is not an orphan. He has a father and a mother from across time. Although it is just an ordinary family, the family treats him very well. He also sends money home every year. Having won this honor this time, I must make my parents look good. In a person's life, it's not like this. Guangzhou Myozu has a lot of faces. Lu Shouguo nodded. Okay, then wait for you 2 months later, give you a few days off, and then send it back with the plaque. Zhou Ping thought for a while and said, at that time, the title of honorary academician will also be sent over, and the National Day is almost 2 months away. Listen to Chief Lu and let you have a long vacation. Yi Bai said happily, that's a good relationship. I haven't been home for a long time. He even wants to eat the braised pork cooked by his mother. When he was an anchor, he went back once a month. For more than a month, I was busy and never went back. Lu Shouguo smiled and said, I'm homesick. Haha, I'm homesick. Okay, let's go first. Lu Shouguo patted Yi Bai on the shoulder and led everyone away. Mo Chang looked at the people who left and asked uncertainly, Director Wu, are we really wasting time with him? Let's do this. Wu Mingyu glanced at him and ignored him and said to Yi Roer, you are dedicated to assisting Yi Bai in the development of new fighter jets, and you can tell me anything you need. Yi Roer nodded. Okay. Wu Mingyu said to Mo Chang again, don't talk too much, just like Chief Lu said, it's only 2 months, we can all afford to wait. Seeing that the factory manager said so, Mo Chang had no choice but to shut up. Finally, he looked at Yi Bai and said with a smile, Researcher Yi, it doesn't matter whether you can develop the fighter jet or not. Anyway, you will have to guide the firearms department when the time comes. Yi Bai smiled and nodded. No problem, in fact, you can go to the firearms department of the Zijin military region to study together, and I will give you the information. Wu Mingyu immediately said happily, that's great, haha. Then I'll wait for you for 2 months, and the remaining things will be arranged by the General Manager Lu. You can research and develop with peace of mind. After Wu Mingyu left, Lu Qing said expressionlessly, the 4th factory building in T4 area is vacant. Let's use it for you. There are machine tools and other large machinery in it, and there is a Bomber 6 long-range bomber in the factory building. And you can make any materials you need. I said, I can arrange a few for you. Yi Bai shook his head. There is no need for manpower. As long as Yi Roer is there, I still need a Veyron 20, and I will talk to Yi Roer about the rest. Okay, I'll give you a Veyron 20. Lu Cheng gritted his teeth. A Veyron 20 costs a lot of money. The most important thing is that it is the strongest fighter currently in service, and now it is going to be given to Yi Bai for experimentation. Please Xiaoyi take him to the factory. Yi Bai followed Yi Roer to the 4th workshop. Mo Chang looked at the backs of the 2 leaving and said angrily, Chief Engineer, is that why Weilong 20 is just given to him? Lu Qing was displeased and said, then what can we do? Director Lu and Director Wu have already said, we can only cooperate with him. Mo Chang said unwillingly, it's obviously just nonsense, and a group of people actually made a fuss together. Let alone building an airplane in 2 months, even research and development is impossible. Lu Cheng waved his hands irritably. Let them go. Our 6th generation machine has been developed for several years, and it is really impossible for him to surpass it in 2 months. Let's go, we still have a lot of work to do. Yi Bai, led by Yi Roer, came to the factory building because it was built for airplanes, so the factory building was very large. There are all kinds of machinery in the factory, such as large-scale tower cranes and other construction machinery, as well as computers, precision lathes, and so on. But it's all gone. On the assembly line in the center of the factory building, there is a dismantled Lu Yi. This is currently the best bomber in Yanwang Kingdom, and it has been completely reborn. But when the anti-gravity fighter comes out, Liu can also retire. It is said to be a fighter jet, but the ammunition load is extremely exaggerated. Yi Bai knows the parameters of anti-gravity fighters like the back of his hand. Yi Roer couldn't help asking, "Researcher Yi, what fighter are you planning to develop?" Yi Bai thought for a while and said, "To be precise, it has been developed, and 2 months is the time for manufacturing." "Already developed?" Yi Roer opened her pink mouth and looked at Yi Bai. "Really?" "Yes, what kind of fighter jet?" Yi Bai glanced at her with a smile. "I named him Long Giant Anti-Gravity Fighter." Yi Roer keenly caught a key word. Anti-gravity. That means having an anti-gravity engine. She looked at the smiling Yi Bai in disbelief. Anti-gravity is an epoch-making technology like electromagnetism, and some people are indeed researching it, but it is much more difficult than ordinary turbofan engines and involves many physical theories. Even a pulse detonation engine is as complex as a reactive engine. If it really appears, it will definitely completely change the power system of the aircraft and set off a revolution in aircraft research and development. Yi Roer suddenly felt that maybe this man could really build a fighter that was stronger than the 6th-generation fighter. The next day, Yi Bai and Yi Roer went to the factory after breakfast and locked the door tightly. On the way to the cafeteria, Emo Chang happened to see them together and felt jealous. Yi Roer is the goddess of the Beiyang military factory, and she has countless crushes. But she never touches emotional things. Coupled with his cold temperament and genius, people dare not approach him. But she is very close to Yi Bai. Factory. Yi Bai took out a thick list of materials and handed it to Yi Roer, asking her to get it. Because this is a military factory, almost all materials can be obtained. If you can't get it, you can go to other research institutes for transfer, because there is an order from Lu Shogua and others. You don't need to apply for it, you can get it directly. Soon, a Veyron 20 was also towed to Yi Bai's factory by a tractor. This is the plane that Lu Jing promised Yi Bai. Yi Bai opened the Nagato and let the Veyron 20 stop next to Master Lu. Although the factory building is very large, it can barely accommodate 2 planes. After the Veyron 20 arrived, Yi Bai started dismantling it. With Luban's hand, Yi Bai worked faster, and he found that the precision of his hand-polished and manufactured parts even exceeded that of a precision lathe. Any tool feels very familiar in the hand, and it is handy to use. It is indeed a reward from the system. Under such high-efficiency work, combined with machinery, Yi Bai's progress is very fast. He chose to use the overall frame of Veyron 20 for transformation, which can also save time. There are still some things that can be used on the Veyron 20, just change it. He made other high-tech configurations by himself. In this way, except for Yi Roer to take the materials, Yi Bai closed the factory gate at other times, and no one was allowed to enter. I devoted myself wholeheartedly to making Long Giant Anti-Gravity Fighter. Chicken, Jinai Taimai, baby chicken. Suddenly, a handsome ringtone interrupted Yi Bai's work. He took out his mobile phone and saw that it belonged to his mother, so he answered it quickly. "Hello, Mom." "Xiao Bai." Yi Bai smiled and gave an "It's been more than a month. Why haven't you come home? Your dad keeps talking about you." Yi Bai scratched his head. "I'm too busy with work this month, so I'll go back before the National Day." "It's still 2 months away, okay? You should pay attention to rest when you work. You must eat breakfast. It's good for your stomach." Yi Bai replied, "Got it, I eat it every day." "That's good, that's right. Your uncle and the others are all here on the National Day. The sons have brought their wives, and the daughters have brought their sons-in-law. They are now very powerful." The sons and daughters have good jobs, and they are all married. What about you? Let's not talk about work. Bring a girlfriend with you when you come. Yibai knew what his mother was talking about. He was only 24 years old, and he had already entered the ranks of being urged to marry. Yibai said helplessly, "I'm still young and I focus on work." "Brat, what is the main job? When I was your age, I had you." Father Yi interjected and said angrily, "Bring me a daughter-in-law back on National Day, so that I will have a long face, otherwise I won't be able to hold my head up in front of your uncles, and your job, I don't know why. We don't want you send money every month, you can't do illegal things, you have to." Yibai quickly interrupted his parents' nagging. Okay, don't worry, it's serious work, let's talk about other things later, I'm busy first." "Brat." Father Yi wanted to say more, but was pulled away by Mother Yi. "Okay, so bye. You go ahead." "Okay, take care of your health." Yibai hung up the phone and smiled. He thought of Rower, shook his head again, and continued working. A week later, Mo Chang snorted coldly. "Boss Liu, that Yibai hides in the factory all day long and doesn't know what to do, except to let Rower carry things. He doesn't even need a helper. How can he make an airplane?" Lu Cheng shook his head and said helplessly, "Let him go. It's just a pity that the Veron 20, I don't know what he made of it. They usually just use it for research, but God knows what Yibai is doing with it. I often heard loud noises coming out of it, as well as the sound of various construction machinery operating. He wouldn't dismantle the Veron 20, would he?" Mo Chang often wandered outside Yibai's factory building, but the gate was closed every time, and he couldn't see anything at all. You can only hear the voices inside every day as if you are busy. If he can really disassemble the Veron 20 completely, that's his ability, but if he destroys it violently, even if he is a first-level researcher of the Dragon Science Academy, he will have to be punished. Lu Cheng snorted coldly. Wanting to completely disassemble a fifth-generation aircraft is not easy to do. Even for them, it takes a long time, all kinds of cooperation, and the blueprint to disassemble. Because fighter jets are too complex and sophisticated. Mo Chang smiled disdainfully. "I think he is just bluffing. It is impossible for one person to disassemble the Veron 20 completely. It makes such a loud noise every day. I am afraid it is trying to deceive us. In fact, it is completely broken." Lu Cheng waved his hand impatiently. "Let's do our thing. Time is fast. When the time comes, we will know whether he can do it or not. No matter what he invented before, this time he is blown out, and he has no face to stay at Speong." Mo Chang nodded. "By the way, the chief engineer, the firearms department has gone to the Zijin military region. I heard that electromagnetic rifles and smart rifles have been developed there." Lu Cheng sighed and said, "Electromagnetic rifles and smart rifles that you have never heard of are epic-making weapons, just like our sixth-generation machine. Others have developed them. Let's hurry up. Don't go to Yibai's. Do it well. Own business." At the end, Lu Cheng blamed him a little. How could he not know what Mo Chang was thinking? Mo Chang nodded, not daring to speak. "I was very envious in my heart. If only I had researched the electromagnetic rifle, then I would definitely be able to become a first-level researcher, and even reach the level of Chief Engineer Liu." Moreover, Rower had studied firearms before, so she would definitely be attracted to her. Hey, what a pity! While Yibai was busy building the aircraft, he also prepared a research and development material for the Widowmaker and Finzai Nungcheng. These materials were handed over to Yang Yiming for the Zijin military region and the firearms department of Beiyang military industry to study. And the Army Production Department and the Army General Armament Department have all passed the production and installation plan of the two guns. In the General Armament Department of the Army, Lu Chengkuan, Nyabu, and others discussed the official deployment model of the Widowmaker and Finzicheng. Every piece of equipment will be awarded a model when it is officially installed, which is completely different from the verification period. Now we have decided to produce these two guns side by side, and the Zijin military region and Beiyang military industry are jointly studying the information given by Yibai. The information is very detailed. I believe that the production line will be established soon. Lu Chengquan glanced at everyone present and said, since it is officially installed, it can no longer be called the Widowmaker and the Sub, and it must be given an official model. Nyabu nodded and said in agreement, today is to confirm the equipment model. Everyone can express their opinions. Since it is replacing Type 95, let's call it Type 96. No, this is a new generation of guns, and the old model should not be used anymore. How about calling it Electromagnetic Type 01 and Intelligent Type 10? Electromagnetic and intelligent represent two research and development directions in the future, and we will continue to develop more models and types in depth. This is not bad. I think it will work. This is the most accepted answer so far. Everyone thinks this is simple and clear. I have an idea. You can refer to it as appropriate. Lu Chengquan said, inventions with epoch-making significance will be named after their inventors, such as various academic theories, the Bullshield law, Schrödinger's cat, etc. These two guns are also epoch-making, so I suggest the model is also determined in the form of naming. Widowmaker is named after the YBD-01 sniper rifle, and Feningchang is named after the YBZ-10 assault rifle. How about it? Nyabu thought for a while. These are the initials of Yi by Dian and Yi by Ji, which are very suitable for naming firearms, and they are indeed two firearm research and development directions initiated by researcher Yi Bai. I agree. Everyone started talking in low voices. The name is really good. Both guns are pioneers. It's perfectly fine to name the model after the developer. I also agree that being simple and clear can also give developers the highest honor, so as to encourage more researchers to work hard to make better inventions. Everyone agreed with Lu Chengquan's proposal. This is the highest honor for developers. There are not many people in the world who can name technology with their own names. Everyone in Yanhuang Kingdom is familiar with Qian Lao Tan Dao, Yuan Lao Rice, and so on. Each of them is a great man. The model has been finalized, and the production will be carried out on a small scale first, trying to catch up with the National Day military parade. Nyabu, as the head of the Army Production Department, issued a short-term goal. No problem. This National Day military parade just happens to appear as new equipment. Let the world take a good look. Yanhuang Kingdom has the most powerful and strongest army in the world, but the individual equipment is not as good as other countries. As the main firearm design, more of them imitate the classic models of other countries. But this time the two new guns are completely self-developed, brand new rifles. With the help of Yi Bai's information, Yang Yiming and the Beiyang Military Industry Firearms Department developed very quickly. Everyone stayed up late and worked overtime just to try to make it before the National Day. Time flies. A month and a half passed quickly. Rower can see Yi Bai every day except for breakfast and dinner, but can't see Yi Bai at other times. And in the later stage, she is rarely needed to get materials. As the time to build a new fighter is getting closer, her mind is more focused on the new fighter developed by Yi Bai. So she simply took the computer to work outside Yi Bai's factory building and continued to work on the research and development project of the 6th-generation machine assigned by Chief Engineer Lu. Suddenly, the factory door opened a little, and Yi Bai took out some material lists to Yi Ruer. This was the first time he needed new materials this week. Seeing Yi Bai's lack of energy, Yi Ruer frowned. Why don't you take a day off? Yi Bai smiled. It's okay, it's almost finished. The last thing is the zero overload liquid cushioning cockpit. Rower noticed a new device name. From the literal meaning, she probably guessed its function. One of the biggest tests for fighter pilots is the ability to resist overload. Many super maneuvers of fighter jets will have powerful overloads, such as falling leaves, cobra maneuvers, etc. This is a huge physical test for the pilot, and sometimes even causes the pilot to be unconscious. The zero overload liquid cushion cockpit seems to be the cockpit without overload. But how could this be possible? And what kind of fighter jet needs such a zero overload cockpit? Then what kind of maneuvers it can make? Rower took the list of materials full of doubts and found that there are many materials and devices used in the space capsule. Okay, I'll bring it to you right away. Rower replied, then looked up and saw a very technological and graceful wing through the crack of the door. Definitely not the wings of the Veron 20 and Lu Yi, but there were only these two planes in the factory. Explain that Bai really built a new plane. From the materials he needs and some of the devices in the new technological field mentioned, it is very likely that he will not only create a model, but a really powerful aircraft. Bai smiled, closed the door, and went back to work. He hasn't slept well for a long time. Even with Luban's hand, it is too difficult to build a new fighter in 2 months. Rower took her notebook and went to look for Wu Mingyu. What Bai needed this time had to be coordinated with the aviation road, which is not available in general military areas. She felt that the research and development project of the 6th-generation machine in the computer suddenly became unsatisfactory. Wu Mingyu was very surprised to see the materials Bai needed. A fighter jet, without flying into the universe, actually needs so many materials and devices on the space capsule. Researcher Yi said that this is all that's left to complete. Wu Mingyu stared. Can he really make it? Rower thought for a while, then nodded to confirm. I'll coordinate immediately. After Wu Mingyu finished speaking, he hurried to the aviation bureau. Finally finished. Bai stretched his waist. It was already late at night, and the construction of the Yong'an anti-gravity fighter was finally completed. Looking around, the Yong'an fighter jet, which is a circle smaller than the Veron 20, has an extremely smooth fuselage line, which perfectly conforms to aerodynamics and human aesthetics. The entire fuselage is formed in one piece, and there is not a single rivet in sight. The canards of the Veron 20 were changed to be fixed on the main body of the aircraft, and the air intake was moved to the back of the aircraft. Because it is equipped with 2 particle propulsion engines, it does not need compressed air for combustion, so the air duct is very small and is mainly used to cool the core components. Swept wings are like the folded wings of a butterfly, wide and 2-tiered with rounded tips. Bai went to the tail. He cancelled the vertical tail on the Veron 20, and there are 2 symmetrical trapezoidal engine nozzles at the tail. This is the particle propulsion engine. The overall painting of the fuselage is close to gray-black, quite like a Black Warrior. The whole plane is like a work of art, full of sense of technology, and the exquisite 2-layer wing is the first of its kind in the world. The more Bai watches, the more he likes it. Who hasn't dreamed of flying in the sky? He also wanted to go for a ride in the plane. Why don't you just drive around? Bai suddenly had an idea. He wanted to test drive the plane he built by himself, soaring in the night sky. It was late at night, and Bai found a tractor to pull the Yong'an anti-gravity fighter out of the workshop. After driving the tractor aside, he couldn't wait to enter the cockpit through the cockpit automatic induction device. Putting on the omnidirectional perception control helmet, Bai excitedly pressed the green start button. Suddenly, the sound of energy filling sounded. After a while, the helmet shows that the energy has been activated, and the energy is 100%. With a hum sound, the hexagonal anti-gravity engine under the 2 large wings emits a faint blue halo around the edge. These are 2 anti-gravity engines that have surpassed the world for decades. After Bai issued the liftoff command in his mind, a burst of intense blue light burst out from the edge of the anti-gravity engine instantly. The plane suddenly lifted into the sky, and it turned out to be a vertical takeoff and landing like a helicopter. And the speed is like a supercar ejection start, and it accelerates into the air in an instant. Under such a large acceleration, there will be an overload that humans cannot bear at all. But it didn't affect the excited Bai in the cockpit at all. He didn't even feel an overload. The plane rose smoothly and quietly into the air, breaking through the clouds. Bai gave the order to stop climbing, and the plane just hovered in the air. This is an ability that only helicopters can have, but Ryan Jian has also achieved it at this time. It was the first time for Bai to look at the moon in the sky so closely. Silvery moonlight spilled into the cockpit. After watching for a while, he slammed the joystick, and the plane quickly shuttled through the clouds. Woohoo, cool. The helmet can complete simple command control, but the specific control still needs human control. After all, Yubai is not a pilot. Although the plane was built by himself and the system provided detailed information, he can only fly back and forth, left and right, and start it. But it was enough, he just wanted to experience the feeling of flying. As for how to land, Ying Jiang has an unmanned driving mode. Suddenly, Yubai was soaring happily, and there was a roar of an engine in the distance. He hurriedly looked for the sound, only to see a civil aviation plane flying towards him. Only then did he remember that he hadn't turned on the radar. The two planes rushed towards each other head-on, extremely fast. When the distance between the two planes quickly narrowed, the civil aviation pilots also saw him. "Look, there's a plane." "You are stupid. Change the course quickly. Mada is about to hit it." F***K, it's too late. The plane is too fast. I'm going to do it like this, huh? He flew away. Shit, can such a sharp turning maneuver really be done by an airplane? The two pilots saw that the unknown plane had a 90-degree drift, turned and flew away. Even if the plane could do this, the pilot would definitely be crushed to death by the powerful overload. Quickly contact the ground. An unidentified aircraft has appeared in the sky above Ying Jiang. The co-pilot quickly contacted the ground tower. CQ-9527 calls the tower. CQ-9527 calls the tower. An unidentified aircraft is found in the sky above Ying Jiang. The tower received it. Are you sure CQ-9527 saw the plane? There is no indication on our radar, and there are no other planes on your route at present. CQ-9527 is very sure. We almost collided, and the captain and I saw it clearly. The captain added, "We can see very clearly. It looks like a fighter jet that we have never seen before." The tower received it and has contacted the military. This is the sky above Ying Jiang, the capital of Yanhuang Kingdom. It's okay if a UFO appears. After the tower notified the military, the Air Force command of the Beiyang military region suddenly became lively. "What's the matter with you? The civil aviation said that their plane almost hit a fighter jet. You didn't know how to avoid the civil aviation during the night training." Zhang Xin angrily strode into the airfinger department. "Also, what kind of plane did you use for training? Why did the civil aviation side say that it was a plane that you had never seen before?" After hearing this, everyone on duty in the airfinger department looked stunned, and one of them said doubtfully, "We don't have training tonight, and we don't have a secret model. The latest Veron 20 should be familiar to everyone." "What?" Zhang Xin was surprised. "No training tonight. What was the plane on that day?" The radar observer pointed to the empty radar. "I didn't find any unknown aircraft signals." Zhang Xin carefully checked the radar in disbelief, and there was indeed no unknown aircraft. Could it be that civil aviation made a mistake? Zhang Xin confirmed with the other party again, and the two civil aviation pilots were still very confident. "Open the meter wave radar. This is the radar that can spot stealth fighters." "Yes!" Radar officers acted immediately. Zhang Xin quickly looked at the radar map again. Still no UFOs. "Their work does not allow any sloppy work," Zhang Xin said in a deep voice. "Take off 2J, 10 VS and go look for UFOs." 2J, 10 VS took off from the airport of the Beiyang military region. Jianji 1 has successfully lifted off, the radar has been turned on, and entered the Z-94 area to search for enemy aircraft. Jianji 2 has successfully lifted off, the radar has been turned on, and entered the B-82 area to search for enemy aircraft. The JJ-10B uses a powerful active phased array radar with a very wide scanning range. Jianji number 1 found no enemy aircraft. Jianji number 2 did not find it, no. GG number 2 saw a UFO. Repeat, GG number 2 found a UFO. What did you say? Zhang Xin asked loudly, "Are you sure it's a real plane?" Jianji 2 is confirmed. It found the target. It is right in front of me, but there is no signal on the radar at all. I saw it. On the walkie-talkie, the pilot of the J-10B number 2 aircraft spoke with certainty. He looked in front of the fighter plane in disbelief, but there was nothing on his radar screen. The active phased array radar is a super radar second only to the Ethernet radar on the 6th-generation aircraft under development. It is the strongest radar currently in service, but it cannot detect targets at close range. Zhang Xin also glanced at the radar map. There were 2 aircraft icons marked with JJ-1 and number 2 on it, but there was no other aircraft in front of number 2 aircraft. With a serious face, Zhang Xin ordered, "Turn on all the radars, activate the multi-radar linkage mode, and scan the area of the number 2 aircraft at full power." The radar operator immediately started operations and contacted other radar stations in Yanjing. After a while, the radar officer reported the real-time situation. The radars of the Yanjing ground radar station have all been turned on, and now the synchronous scanning is started. All of a sudden, all the radars on the ground in Yanjing started to scan the airspace of number 2 aircraft. Scan complete, sync results complete. Zhang Xin kept staring at the radar chart. Still none. He picked up the walkie-talkie and said, "GNG number 2, I want your picture." GNG 2 has opened the channel, and the picture has been sent back. Zhang Xin winked at the radar officer. Immediately, the helmet screen of JJ-2 appeared on the big screen in the airfinger. In front of JJ-2, there was a plane with a blue light emitting from its tail. It's blue light, no flames. What engine is this? Zhang Xin has never seen it before. This fighter is too dangerous. GNG number 1 immediately goes to the position of number 2 aircraft to assist him in intercepting UFOs together. Zhang Xin quickly gave instructions through the walkie-talkie. GNG 1 received. After a while, JJ number 1 came to JJ number 2, and he also opened the screen channel. There are 2 pictures on the big screen in the airfinger department, both of which are the fighter jet. What kind of plane is this? Why can't our radar scan it? Even Ying Jiang's F-22 can't do it. I don't know, it's too weird. It feels like it doesn't exist, but I can clearly see it. The 2 pilots looked at the completely unseen plane in front of them in surprise and communicated through the intercom system. "You pull in the distance, give me a clear picture, and try to talk to the other party. Tell the other party to land immediately and accept our inspection, otherwise it will cause serious consequences." Zhang Xin decisively ordered that the violation of the airspace of the capital could not be as simple as driving away. Received on the 1st. Received on the 2nd. Both interceptors accelerated and approached at the same time. "This is the airspace of Yanwang Kingdom. Please land immediately and accept our army's investigation, otherwise our army will take all necessary measures." Repeat, "This is the airspace of Yanwang Kingdom. Please land immediately and accept our army's investigation, otherwise our army will take all necessary measures." Shouted 3 times in a row. At this time they were very close to the UFO and could see it more clearly. Which country's plane is this? This shape is too sci-fi. Could it be Ying Jiang's 6th-generation machine? How is it possible? The 6th-generation machine is still being developed all over the world, and it can't be done at all. Zhang Xin frowned when he heard the conversation between the 2 pilots. He also saw the plane on the screen. The layout of the 2-layer wing has never been seen before, and the shape of the wing is round, just like the wings of a butterfly. No country in the world has adopted this shape. It can't be Ying Jiang's 6th-generation machine, and the current 6th-generation machine is still in the research and development stage. I have never seen the coating on the surface of the aircraft, and it can absorb all their radar signals. Command, the other party has not responded. After waiting for a while, the number 1 report did not receive a response. Zhang Xin's eyes were fixed, and he said coldly, "Intercept. Courtesy first, soldiers later. Since the other party is disobedient, then do it directly." Receive. The 2 pilots shouted in unison. The 2J-10BS immediately started to accelerate, directly breaking through the speed of sound, and the speed reached Mach 2.3. 1 left and 1 right rushed to both sides of the UFO, preparing to use pincers to force the opponent's flight path so that he had to follow him to land. But the opponent suddenly pulled up vertically by 90 degrees and disappeared into the clouds like a traffic jam drift. And also broke through the sound barrier in an instant, surpassing the speed of sound. F***K, is this an airplane or a sports car? Mad is doing vertical lifts at such a high altitude. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Supersonic vertical climb. It is impossible to make such a maneuver. How strong is the power and body strength of this aircraft? I feel that his instantaneous speed has at least exceeded Mach 4, which is incredible. Report to the headquarters. The target is lost. The target is lost. The target uses a 90-degree climb, and the braking sound speed has disappeared. Jiang said in disbelief. What? Supersonic vertical lift? Are you kidding me? Many fighter jets can climb vertically. Although the overload is huge and it is easy to stall, it is very useful in close dogfights. But it is impossible to achieve supersonic speed up, because the vertical climbing maneuver itself will lose a lot of speed or even stall. How could there be a plane that not only does not slow down, but speeds up instead? It is impossible for anyone to believe it. But he did see the maneuver on the big screen and the impact on the clouds as it broke the sound barrier. Damn it, it has to be found out. Jiang angrily slapped down the table. You actually ran to the airspace of Yanwang capital to provoke me. Receive. Receive. Hey, this guy is like a ghost, invisible to all radars, and his mobility is so abnormal, it's too difficult. No matter what, we must find out. Those who offend Yanwang will be punished no matter how far away they are. Old Jiang, why did we suddenly mobilize the radar of our radar station so late? The persons in charge of other radar stations in Yanjing all asked about Jiang Sen's situation. It is not a state of war, and there is no need to turn on so many radars. Yanjing's radars are all turned on, even a fly can be swept out for you. The unidentified aircraft was found without any national symbols, and he did not answer our military's questioning. It is not clear about his intentions. Jiang Sein replied seriously. Unidentified aircraft? Impossible. I don't have any on my radar map. There are only 2 J-10 VS from our army. Jiang Sein sat in front of the console. That's right, our radar can't find him. Even when J-10B approaches, we can't find him on the radar, just like a ghost. How is it possible? You know how many radars Yanjing has? This is incredible. Everyone was silent. The radar station chief knew that Jiang Sein would not lie, but this was too hard to believe. The whole army is on alert, and the ground air defense forces are notified to enter a wartime state. Jiang Sein let the news pass, and now it's not just a matter of the Air Force. Let a Veron 20 go into the air. Receive. A Yanwang Kingdom's most advanced Veron 20 slowly lifted off from the Beiyang military factory. After accelerating, there was a very beautiful climb. Thanks to the terrifying climb coefficient brought by the canard, the maneuverability of the Veron 20 is much better than that of Ying Jiang's 22. The Veron 20 has taken off and entered the designated altitude. Turn on the radar and activate. A suspected target has been found. The target has been found, and it is ready to intercept. Lost target. Lost target. The target flies away at supersonic speed. The pilot of the Veron 20 was stunned. He had just taken off and entered the designated airspace, turned on the radar, and was about to start the search when he saw what the control department said was a suspicious aircraft. But he was gone in the blink of an eye. It even flew away from supersonic speed into hypersonic speed in an instant. It takes a powerful engine to do this. And with such an acceleration, people may be directly crushed to death by overload. What? Hypersonic speed? How could a fighter jet have such a speed? Jiang Senyo stood up. The fastest aircraft in the world are the hypersonic missiles of Yanwang, Ying Jiang, and Maoxiong. With its extreme terminal speed, no air defense system can intercept it. But that's a missile. It is impossible for a fighter jet to have the speed, and the human body simply cannot withstand the overload at this speed. Hypersonic refers to speeds above Mach 5. The fastest plane in the world is Eagle Sauce's Blackbird reconnaissance plane, and its speed is only Mach 3.3. What concept above Mach 5 is almost 6,000 kilometers per hour? I can see clearly, and the Veron 20's radar has not found the target. I have already accelerated, but I still can't catch up. Zhang Sen clenched his fists so that the radar could not detect him, with terrifying maneuverability and abnormal thrust. Is this a UFO? There's simply no such fighters on Earth. At this time, Yiming came to the Airfinger department. What's the situation? There is an unidentified aircraft? Chief, we found an unidentified aircraft. Our radar can't find it. Zhou Xin reported immediately. Yiming looked at Zhang Xin for a few seconds, and after confirming that he was not joking, he said in a deep voice, "Continue." Zhang Xin and Yiming talked about the information they got so far. The speed, stealth, and thrust all surpassed Yinwang's existing fighter jets. Yiming decisively ordered, "Let the unarmed military area eliminate all fighter planes and launch them into the air and intercept them from multiple directions." At the same time, the other 4 major military regions received orders and news. All urgently entered the state of war. Yi Bai has found himself spotted by military planes. There is a radar trying to capture the fighter plane, and the stealth state is activated. This stealth is not invisible to the naked eye, but invisible in radar scanning. Yi Bai originally wanted to land back, but he saw that all the Beiyang military factories were on alert. And a Veron 20 took off. After Yi Bai raised the fighter plane, he directly turned on the full acceleration mode. According to the display on the helmet, Yong'an has reached 10 times the speed of sound. Like an arrow leaving the string, it flew out instantly. After entering the acceleration mode, the wings of the fighter plane retracted slightly inward. F***K, forgot to report. I was so excited. I wanted to take a look at the sky and try the feeling of flying, but I forgot that I needed to report for flying. Yi Bai quickly dialed Lu Shouguo's cell phone. "Xiaoya, what's the matter? I'm very busy now." Lu Shouguo received news of an unidentified aircraft intrusion and was preparing for the Zijin military region's fighter jets to take off and intercept them from multiple directions. Yi Bai said with some embarrassment, "Chief Lu, I was excited just now. I drove the newly developed plane into the sky and watched the moon. Now it seems that I was discovered by the military and I can't go back." "What did you say?" Lu Shouguo was taken aback. "The plane you developed?" Yi Bai nodded. "Yes, I want to go back to the Beiyang military factory, but I saw a Veron 20 take off, so I had no choice but to run, and now I'm flying to the sea. I want to ask you, can you let me go to the Zijin military region and land?" That's right, Yi Bai should have developed the flying Wraith fighter jet that the Yanjing Control Department made. Lu Shouguo did not expect that Yi Bai was really developed in 2 months, and he almost forgot about it. And from the current point of view, the stealth performance, maneuverability, and engine of the fighter are definitely leading the world. "You, don't land yet, wait for my news." Lu Shouguo hung up the phone and immediately contacted Yiming, Old E. That unidentified aircraft was developed by Yi Bai. Huh? Yi Bai? Yiming was stunned for a moment, and then quickly came back to his senses. "You mean the Yi Bai who developed the electromagnetic rifle and the smart rifle?" Lu Shouguo's tone was affirmative. "Yes, that's him." There was a long silence on the phone. It took Yiming a long time to come back to his senses, and he was extremely horrified. This guy is simply a monster genius. He also knows that Yi Bai will need 2 months to develop a new fighter. After all, it is in his Beiyang military factory. But he didn't have any hope. Although Yi Bai is indeed a genius, fighter jets are not Chinese cabbages. They can be made if they're invented. Now he didn't expect not only to make it, but also to be so strong. He looked at the time. It's not exactly 2 months. Yiming frowned and said helplessly, "This guy, why did he fly a plane to the sky without reporting it? And also, how can he fly a plane?" After knowing that there was an oolong, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Lu Shouguo shook his head. "I don't know either." He just called me from the sky and said he wanted to land in our Zijin military region. I. Before Lu Shogwa finished speaking, Yiming interrupted him immediately. No, it must land in our Beiyang military region. He was developed in our Beiyang military factory. Just kidding, such a powerful aircraft must be in its own military area. Lu Shogwa was helpless. Old I didn't want to grab it. I mean, since it's already like this, let him test the performance of the fighter thoroughly, so we can take a look. Yiming was relieved when he heard that Lu Shogwa had no intention of robbing him. He thought for a while and said, "It's indeed a good opportunity. Okay, let's have a simulated air battle. You inform him, and I will arrange it." Simulated close-range air combat? Yibai was a little surprised when he received Lu Shogwa's mission. He only knows how to operate a plane with simple operations, otherwise he would not have almost crashed into a civil aviation company. Of course, Ying Jiang has artificial intelligence, so it is impossible for a plane collision to happen. Well, don't worry, it's just a simulated air battle, mainly for testing. You just try your best to show the performance of your fighter. Lu Shogwa waved all the Air Force teams on duty into the air, and 4 Fighter 11 BGs were launched into the air. This is Yan Huang's best air-superior dual-engine at present, with supersonic, over-the-horizon, active phased array radar and other killer features. Of course, this simulation of close-range air combat is also a helpless move. Their radar couldn't pick up Yibai's plane, so they couldn't hit it at all. Yibai only needs to use BVR strikes from a distance, and he can shoot down them all without any damage. Okay, I'll try. Yibai nodded, hung up the phone, and simply switched to artificial intelligence driving. Start the simulated combat mode. The simulated combat mode has been activated, and all airborne weapons have activated the lock mode. In this mode, the Yong'an anti-gravity fighter will not fire, but will only lock onto the enemy plane. At the same time, the Yanjing Control Department also passed on the news of the simulated air battle. Damn, the simulated air combat means that the perverted fighter just now is our own? What the hell, it probably didn't run away. It's ours. It made us worry for nothing. If I officially serve in the army, I must drive it once. The 2J-10B pilots were surprised when they heard the news. When did we have this fighter? Is it a 6th-generation fighter? Is the 6th-generation machine already so powerful? It's unbelievable. GG number 1, number 2, please return immediately and change to GG-10C to attack again. Zhang Xin issued an order. Let the JJ-16 electronic warfare plane go into the air. Receive. Other theaters also fielded the latest and greatest fighters. There are also airborne early warning aircraft, and the Veron 20 has also increased to 3. Yibai had no idea at this time that in this simulated air battle, he was going to face the combined air forces of the 5 military regions. Since close-range air combat is being simulated, there is no need to turn on stealth mode. After turning off the stealth mode, Yibai turned around and flew back. When he turned off the stealth mode, all his information was captured on Yanhuang Kingdom's radar. When the target is found, the other party seems to intend to be found, so fighter planes are immediately dispatched to intercept it. The J-16 electronic fighter planes capture the opponent's signal and prepare to implement electronic jamming. The J-16 electric fighter is Yanhuang's strongest electronic warfare aircraft, stronger but not weaker than Ying Jiang's Growler electronic warfare aircraft. The power of electronic warfare aircraft lies in its ability to suppress the opponent's radar system. When Ying Jiang beat Yudong, the Howler crippled the opponent's air force and air defense force. The 3 Veron 20s were the first to spot the returning Long Jian and flew over at the same time and immediately activated their radars, trying to lock on. In the simulated air combat, as long as it is locked by the radar for more than 3 seconds, it is considered to be shot down. The Veron 20's radar can even deceive the opponent's fighter's radar to achieve lock-on, and the opponent doesn't even know how it died. Veron 1 has already locked the target. No good. It is a false target. The target is lost. Luo Ping looked at the target on the radar and said in surprise, He is the ace pilot of the Bayang military region, and he knows the radar performance of the Veron 20 like the back of his hand, but he didn't expect to be deceived. The three Veron 20s were completely unable to lock onto Longyuan. The opponent's electronic system was stronger than theirs, and they could even deceive their radars. This is the ability of electronic fighters. Rongqing, Songkla, you separate and surround from both sides. No good, I'm locked. Luo Ping was surprised to find that he had been locked by the other party and quickly took maneuvers to avoid it. But no matter how he made evasive actions, the opponent's radar always locked him. How could there be such a flexible radar? Seeing that he was about to be shot down, Luo Ping immediately released a disruptor bomb and used a cobra maneuver to come directly behind Long Yuan from above his head. This is definitely a very beautiful evasive maneuver, worthy of being an ace pilot. Just when he breathed a sigh of relief and thought he had avoided the lock, he found that he had been prompted to shoot down. What's the situation? The jammer is useless. Not only did I jam the bombs, but I also did the cobra maneuver. I came to the rear of the enemy plane, but I was shot down. This fighter can lock the enemy 360 degrees? Damn it, Rongqing, Songkla, be careful. This fighter is very powerful and weird. Unwillingly, Luo Ping greeted his companions and drove the fighter plane back. Damn, Luo Ping was knocked out. Let's lock him at the same time. No, I was locked too. Just as Rongqing and Songkla were about to attack, they found that they were also locked. With Luo Ping's lesson, they didn't dare to make too much of a fuss and directly fired jamming bombs and then quickly turned to both sides to avoid it. But the result was still the same. After 3 seconds, no matter how they evaded, they were always locked by the radar. Damn, at the beginning of the simulation, 3 Veron 20s were lost in one encounter. This is so freaking crazy. Zhang Xin was annoyed, happy, and helpless. The annoyance is that the enemy is too strong, and the joy is that this enemy is one of our own. The helpless thing is that this mentality is too tortured. Yiming watched the battle on the big screen in the airfinger department and couldn't help sighing. Xiaoya really brought too many surprises. At present, the radar system, engine, and stealth performance are indeed much better than the 6th-generation aircraft under development. Let the J-16 electronic warfare planes quickly interfere with the opponent's radar, assist the J-11DG in combat, simulate false targets, deceive the opponent, and encircle and suppress the J-11C at the same time. After all, Zhang Xin was in command of the Air Force. After a short surprise, he quickly went into battle. J-16 electronic warfare planes, J-11DG and J-10C formed a formation and surrounded Yi Bai at the same time. Received, the task must be completed. The heads of the 5 major military regions gathered online to watch this simulated air battle. Lu Shogwa sighed. It's unbelievable that Xiaoya has built such a powerful fighter in 2 months. Jin Jianjun nodded and said, "That's right. Just after the 2 new guns were put into small-scale production, another fighter jet was produced. We and Wang have such researchers, and there is hope for their rise." Yiming was the first to know the performance of Longyuan. It is known that the performance of the 6th-generation machine is still under development. At that time, I thought he was talking about bragging. After all, 2 months is too unrealistic. It's all come true. Lu Shogwa said with some shame, "If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes and heard Yi Bai tell me with my own ears, I wouldn't have believed it." Bai Yan, commander of the Changnan military region, said, "This time there are J-16 electronic warfare planes, so they shouldn't be shot down so quickly." Commander of the Huadai military region, Xiang Wanxing, said to himself, "In terms of air combat capability alone, the J-11DG will definitely rank among the top in the world. Even if Xiaoya's fighter jet is very strong, it may be difficult to parry it. After all, combat beyond visual range is prohibited." Jin Jianjun suddenly said, "Did you find out that Xiaoya's fighter jet has been kept at Mach 2? Obviously it has pulled back." Yiming nodded and said, "Yes, He could cruise at hypersonic speed before, but I don't know the specific speed because our radar couldn't find him at all at first. Look, the Fighter 11DG formation and Xiaoya have encountered each other. The big screens in the airfinger departments of the 5 major military regions all played the simulated air battle, and most of the pilots were called to watch in the airfinger departments. Everyone stared at the big screen intently, watching the confrontation between the two teams. I saw 5J, 11DGs, and 6J, 10CS encircling Yi Bai. The JJ-16 electronic warfare aircraft conducts electronic jamming and assistance at high altitude. Yi Bai is 1v12 this time. Our formation has locked the enemy plane. GG-10C team all locked on the enemy plane. GG-16 has electronically jammed the enemy aircraft and filtered the signal flow that interferes with our radar. Okay, this time he can't escape. Many pilots are full of confidence that no one can escape in such an encirclement. With so many fighters, the radar has covered the entire airspace. With the assistance of electronic warfare aircraft, even Ying Jiang's F-22 cannot escape. Only the ending of being shot down. But just when everyone was full of confidence and encircled them, 2 small spoilers instantly rose on the 2 butterfly wings of the Yi Bai fighter. I saw the nose of the fighter plane lifted up instantly, and it came to a sudden break in the air and stopped in the air. What? Hummingbird maneuver? It's impossible. Isn't there someone on that plane? How could it be possible to withstand the overload caused by this maneuver? The formation pilots watched in disbelief at the hovering Ryongyang anti-gravity fighter with its nose up. When 2 of them were driving the JJ-10V, they saw Yi Bai pull up at supersonic speed instantly. Supersonic lifting and emergency stop are maneuvers that humans cannot withstand overload. What are those 2 blue lights, engines? Someone saw the anti-gravity engine glowing blue. I don't know what is going on with this fighter jet. There is no exhaust engine, and there are 2 unknown engines on the wings. How can I stop like a hummingbird? I'm so numb. Not only the pilots, but all the commanders in the Air Command, including Lu Shogua and others, also looked at the hovering Yong'an anti-gravity fighter in disbelief. Lu Shogua clenched his fists and said worriedly, Yi Bai is on top. With such a maneuver, how can he withstand such an overload? Yi Ming moved his throat a few times, and he felt that his throat was a bit dry. Could it be that his cockpit is also specially made to cushion some overload, otherwise flying at supersonic speed and stopping suddenly? The overload would be no less than hitting a car head-on, truck. That was the only explanation they could think of. But the cockpit that can buffer such a large overload is another high-tech. Lu Shogua and others looked at Yi Bai's plane on the screen with glowing eyes. That's his R&D style. Like the 2 new guns, they are packed with all kinds of high technology. The pilots in the formation recovered from the shock. Even if hovering is useless, lock him for me. It's been a second. Everyone, don't take it lightly. The other party is too advanced. Before he finished speaking, he saw the Longyuan anti-gravity fighter plane plummeting straight down. Lu Shogua looked anxiously at the big screen. What's going on? Is there something wrong? He took out his mobile phone to make a call. Yi Ming said uncertainly, could it be a stall? This is very likely. Yi Bai is not a pilot after all, and it is very likely that he made an error in the operation, resulting in a stall. This sudden turn of events shocked everyone and made the hearts of the people in the empty fingers hang in their throats. But this time, the fighter formation that was originally encircled lost its target in an instant. Bai Yan guessed, could it be that he did evasive maneuvers in order to escape the radar lock of our fighter formation? Xiang Wanqing stroked his beard. Very likely. The Ryongyang anti-gravity fighter did not fall for too long and made an emergency stop again, another maneuver beyond the routine. Everyone has been numb. I am a little numb to this kind of unconventional maneuver. There is only one question in their minds. How strong is the fuselage of this plane, and is the pilot made of iron? I saw the nose of the Yongjin fighter return to the level again and then rushed out in an instant. From hovering to a single supersonic speed, it is faster than a super-running 100-meter acceleration. F***K, F***K. Zhang Xin couldn't help bursting out a beautiful admiration at Baiyang Kong's fingers. He watched in horror at the soaring speed displayed on the radar. Mach 1, Mach 1.5, Mach 2. Zhang Xin rubbed his eyes in disbelief. It's true. The speed of the Yibai fighter climbed vertically in a straight line. 10 seconds. Just 10 seconds. The speed accelerates from hover, which is 0, to Mach 10. Mach 1 second is okay? Is this an airplane? This is a missile. Everyone looked at the speed value updated in real time on the screen in horror. Mach 10, hypersonic speed. Currently, only missiles can reach it. At this speed, even if the fighter plane is not stealthy, it will be fine. You can catch up with me. Zhou Xin muttered to himself, this world is too crazy. Yiming's eyes were fixed on the screen, the direction where Yibai's fighter plane disappeared. With this fighter plane, we can definitely become the supremacy of the sky. Lu Xiaogua also said seriously, yes, Ying Jiang has sat in this position for too long, it's time to change. Jin Jianjun sighed, it seems that I need another first-class merit medal. Baiyan shook his head, this fighter plane is of great strategic significance. I'm afraid it won't work with a medal. This time he has to wear epaulets on his shoulders. Lu Xiaogua nodded slightly. That's right, let's study it later and send it to his hometown before the National Day. In the fighter formation, everyone was astonished. Either I'm crazy or I'm crazy. If he keeps flying at this speed, we won't be able to catch up at all. Even our air-to-air missiles won't be able to catch up with him. What a fart. It seems that he still took the initiative to slow down and deal with us, and now he just doesn't pretend. Warning, don't let your guard down. The opponent is still circling around on the radar. The J-16 electronic warfare pilot reminded the formation members. His radar has a wider range, and Yibai can be seen not flying away, but circling around. Didi, radar lock warning, radar lock warning. Suddenly, the alarm sounded. No, I'm locked. I'm also locked. Maid, me too. At the same time, 5 fighters were locked on. They did the same, launching a distraction shell and then quickly evasive maneuvering. For a moment, a large number of distracting bombs flashing white light dragged smoke, illuminating the night sky. Many residents of Yanjing looked up, thinking that there were fireworks. But the Veron 20 did not escape the lock with the Cobra maneuver. How could they escape? The electronic jamming has been turned on, and the false target cover has been activated, but it is useless. The opponent bypasses all false targets, and the signal is not interfered. The J-16 electronic warfare aircraft has a strong suppression capability, and he could have suppressed a battle in an airspace. But now it can't suppress a fighter. 3 seconds later, the 5 fighter planes were prompted to be shot down. Damn it. Even if BVR is not used, if he hits us at the speed of hypersonic cruising, there is nothing we can do. It's simply a dimensionality reduction blow. The 5 pilots left unwillingly. This doesn't work. Everyone spread out and look for opportunities to shoot him down. Zhang Xin is in command of the Airfinger department, but he knows that this is actually useless. Spread out the most to avoid getting shot down too much at once. But it was just being broken one by one, delaying time. He just wanted to delay the time and wait for fighter planes from other military regions to come to support him. However, Yibai's speed was too fast. After rushing out of the encirclement, Yibai was completely unrestrained. Roll the names of the remaining fighters one by one. In the end, only the JJ-16 electronic fighter was left at high altitude. Oops, he disappeared from the radar again. The pilot of the J-16 fighter jet had a sudden feeling in his heart, and he had a bad premonition. At the same time, the ground radar station also lost its target. Zhang Xin was puzzled. What did he want? Why did he disappear again? Jianji 10C1, take a look around GG16. Although it has been shot down, everyone has no choice but to know what happened. In the end, there was only one J-16 left, and Yibai must be near him. Receive. The J-10C flew to the J-16 again. When he gets close. F***K, J-16. The target is right under your belly. The J-10C pilot yelled over the communication channel. At the same time, the screen of the Airfinger also has the helmet screen of the Ji-10C. It turned out that Yibai turned on the stealth mode, flew to the belly of the J-16 electronic warfare plane, and flew with him closely. What the hell? My radar is turned on at full power, and I can't even find the target. He is actually under my plane. It's so close to the face and the radar can't detect it. What the hell is the stealth ability against the sky? The Airfinger departments of the 5 major military regions all heard the sound of gasping for air. With this fighter plane, I can go wherever I want in the future. Flying on someone else's radar and stopping to find it, it's just too perverted. After Yibai pissed off, he rolled continuously onto the head of JJ-16 and then locked onto shoot down. So far, the Beiying military region and the Zijin military region have all retreated. Yibai turned off the stealth mode again. Yibai connected to Lu Shogwa's phone through his helmet. Chief Lu, I won by luck. Is this simulated air battle over? Lu Shogwa was speechless. This is a fluke. This is called crushing. There are still fighter planes from 3 military regions on the way. Yibai thought for a while and said, I'll take the initiative. After hanging up the phone and setting the route, Yong'an accelerated to Mach 10 again, rushed to the remaining military area, and shot down all the fighter planes that came halfway. This made the pilots of the other 3 military regions very depressed. They only saw the mysterious Wraith fighter plane, and it was shot down before the radar was turned on. Everyone came here in a daze, and then went back in a daze. The entire simulated air battle ended very quickly, beyond everyone's expectations. Lu Shogwa said helplessly, I expected the battle to end soon, but I didn't expect it to be so soon. Yiming pursed his lips. I never thought that we would lose, and lose so quickly. Jin Jianjun touched his face. It was early morning, but he was not sleepy at all. I want to take another look at his weapon system. Then let's test it.
Thank you for watching Mystic Realms Recap. Please like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day.